Welcome to Lockdown and Listen, everyone. We're streaming live from Mezrab in Amsterdam. This is Lockdown and Listen, an hour and a half of stories and music. It's our monthly storytelling show here at Mezrab, the home of storytelling. We're starting with a cover of Faith by Georgi Milev, a cover by the Unmutables, of course. And we're starting with this song because our theme tonight is OMG. Oh my God. Was there a moment in your life that you exclaimed, oh my God? Was there a moment in your life that you witnessed a miracle? Was there a moment in your life that you needed some sort of divine intervention to be saved? All of those things and more will be discussed tonight through stories, through music. We have personal stories, we have folk stories. We have so many talented storytellers and musicians tonight with us, and of course a lovely crew that makes sure that you can hear as well, you can see as well. Hopefully our sound and the image is reaching you already. Sit back, enjoy the show, relax, pour some drinks, get some snacks, sit comfortably. It's gonna be, as I said, an hour and a half of music. Enjoy the music, and so let's get this thing started, shall we? For the Unmutables. Welcome to Lockdown and Listen. Welcome to another show of stories and music. Welcome to the Mezrab. Hello, everyone. Hey. How are you doing tonight? Great. Yeah? Oh, you good? Yeah? Good. Hi, Joseph. Hi. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, very well. Let me say hi to our online guests. Hello, lovely people. Thank you for joining us tonight. This is the episode 3 of season 3. Yeah, we're there already.
33, the year of Jesus.
Yeah. Oh, ooh.
Deep.
And I would say that your outfit tonight is very Jesus-like. What's happening
I am
there?
your own personal Jesus.
You're my own personal
It's
Jesus.
true.
I
It's
feel
true.
so safe with you
I'm
next to you,
glad.
Joseph.
It's good. You shouldn't.
Welcome. You know? Devil in disguise. Before I hear more from you and more from our online audience, I would like to introduce you to our guests. Have you met our guests already?
But let's pretend I haven't. Who's here tonight?
Oh, we have lovely people, lovely storytellers. From this side of the room on the couch, we have Sinead O'Brien joining us. Welcome back. This is your microphone over there, Sinead. Thank you so much for joining us. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes,
I am very happy to be here.
We have to provide applause for ourselves all night. This is how it's going to go. Hi, Sinead. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing good.
It's very good to have you back.
Thank you.
Have you missed our show here?
I have missed the rugs.
Yeah.
It's all wooden floors in my apartment.
All
Doesn't
right.
feel the same.
All right. Very, very good to have you back here. We've seen you, of course, as a host of the show. We've seen you as a storyteller. We've seen you as a storyteller many times at Mezrab. We've heard you tell folk stories,
Yeah.
mostly, but tonight you're coming with a personal story, no?
Yeah, it's kind of not quite a folktale, not quite a personal story. It's a story my father swears is true, but it's back from his drinking days, so I'm not entirely sure. So it's more like a urban legend.
Shall we take it with a grain of salt?
Yeah.
Okay,
A
good.
large, healthy pinch.
Nice. Welcome back to the show. Very good to have you here. Sobhi, how are you doing, dear?
Very well, thanks.
Hello. Welcome back. You've also been here many times. Are you comfortable on this couch already?
Yeah. I like it because I can reach the ground, which is not always
Yeah.
the case. So, yeah.
Welcome to the show. And you're also coming with a personal story.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is.
Is it also from your dad's drinking days, or is it?
No. It's
No?
from my drinking days. No, sorry. When I was a child.
Good to have you back. Welcome
Thank
back.
you.
And from this side of the room, we have lovely Ashley joining us for the first time on this live stream.
Yes,
Hello,
very
hello,
exciting.
welcome. First time on this live stream, Ashley. I'm saying, do I have to cue everything here? Hi, Ashley. How are you doing?
Excellent.
You have some experience at Mezrab here. You've told the story on this carpet before, but it was not
I
live
have.
streamed, was it?
Yeah, no, this was during the storytelling course.
You took a storytelling course at the storytelling school of Mezrab.
Yeah.
Nice. How long ago was that?
in September last year, I think.
And have you keeping it warm? All these things that you picked up in the course. Have you practicing them somehow? Because we have.
I mean, a little bit, but
Okay.
mostly it just gave me a little bit more confidence to actually put together a story.
And the story that you crafted tonight is something that you bring from the course, or is it something you crafted specifically for the night tonight?
Brand new. I
Brand
heard
new.
OMG, and I thought I have a perfect story for OMG.
Very, very, very well. Great. Excited to hear your story. Thank you
Yeah,
for joining
thank
us. Noah Volker.
Hi.
Hello. Noah Volker, everyone. Yes.
Way!
You're also an old friend of the Mezrab. You've told many, many stories on this carpet.
Yeah.
Yeah? You're an
And-
actor, you're a storyteller, you're a
Yeah.
performer.
Theater maker, whatever else. You
And
know.
Yes, and we're very happy to have you back.
I'm very happy to be here.
Very, very nice. And you're not coming with a personal story tonight or a folk story, are you?
No. This is one from God himself. He wrote it himself, and I'm just
You're just the messenger
I'm
here.
just the messenger tonight.
Very good, very good. Welcome, Volker, sorry. and Joseph.
Did we just gender presume God?
Oh, we started already. Ooh.
Oh, from Texas.
It's and I wasn't sure about this touchy subject,
Yes,
but yeah. Okay. Joseph, how are you
Yes.
doing? So many biblical references, like we got
I'm
Noah,
very
we
well.
got
I'm
Joseph.
very
we got-
well.
Yeah.
Ariana Grande has suggested that God is a woman, and I trust her.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh, that would have been a good cover, no?
God is a woman. Work in it. You have some time.
Do we have some time? Maybe during the break we can work a cover of. what God leftovers? Yeah. We can do like in a couple of weeks. We can do like an extra half an hour episode with everything that we missed tonight.
What we wish we'd done. Yes.
All right. More. Tell me more. Tell
Okay,
me
hi, how's it
about
going?
tell me about divine interventions in your life. Tell me about miracle moments. Tell me about OMG moments
Oh,
that
you know,
you've
there's
experienced.
so much. Like, and I try often to not lean on the Irish thing, and I'm so glad Sinead is here as well. But in Ireland, like, God is intrinsic in our culture, right? It's in the tapestry of everything. And when I moved to the Netherlands, I had to remove God phrases from my English because I didn't want people to think that I was a crazy fundamentalist. So we'd say things like, when you get a shock, you'd say, Jesus, Mary, and Joseph. And I don't say that anymore. And you'd say things like, well, holy God. And it means that you're really happy, you know? And then I came here and thought, oh, no, hang on. People are giving me funny looks, and they probably weren't giving me funny looks. I was assuming, so I de-godded my English when I moved here.
You became very, very self-aware of the God element in the language.
Yeah, and you know, we love it and we hate it in equal measure, because you know there's dreadful stories where once upon a time in Ireland, if you weren't married and you went into labour, certain hospitals wouldn't deliver your child because that woman was unmarried and unwed, and that child, their soul was damned.
Right.
So the stories of pregnant women in labour, in ambulances, going to hospitals and being turned away. So. And then there's other gorgeous stories in Ireland about the church and about God, where you know we punch above our weight, as the American president would say. That Irish Catholic priests and nuns would go all around the world helping and doing charitable acts, you know, being good people. And there's this lovely thing in Ireland where when something goes missing, they always say a prayer to Saint Anthony,
right,
to help you find it, right?
Yeah,
And I
we
love
also have
that
a
about
saint in
Ireland.
Greece. We have a saint Aios Fanurios, and Fanouris mean the one who reveals things to you.
Yeah.
Faneroni, so reveals things to you. So you're supposed to bake a pie, I think, to the saint Fanurios. If you lost something, you bake a pie that has a specific recipe, and then if you make the pie and the saint is happy with the pie, he gives you back your lost things.
Don't look for your credit card and your house keys. Just go into the kitchen, bake a pie.
I don't even do that. I call my mom and I go like, "Can you please bake a pie because I lost my keys?" Very nice. Do we have anyone from online already saying hi to us, or where they're watching us from, perhaps?
We do. Like a quick check-in with our regulars, and thank you so much, our loyal and lovely regulars. We have so many tonight. We have Ejmail, we have Wolf Schmidt, Albors, who pointed out that it's the third episode in the third season, the Divine Trinity. So it's our divine episode. We have Demetrius in Ioannina.
Γεια σου Dimitri and Ioannina. Hello, and hello Ismail, and hello Wolf.
And we have Ursula over in Warsaw, Cześć, Dziękuję, jak się masz?
Hello.
We have Shakufe tuning in, who says that we all look fabulous. Alexi says, hello from Finland. And Alexi, I think you're a new viewer, so welcome on board. And you're from a fabulous little town called...
Who's Alexi? Who?
Well, in Finland. Do we have an Alexi in Finland every week?
Alexi was our drummer before Jordan joined us, and then he moved. Didn't he go back? Yeah, sure. But is this Alexi from Finland, our former drummer? He
He's
could be him.
in Lappeenranta. Does that sound familiar to anyone? Super. Hey,
Okay.
Alexi, we love you so much. We have
Welcome.
Juan Pablo tuning in from Colombia.
Hello,
We have
Colombia.
Aaron and Clara.
Wow, so many places, diverse places all around the world.
I know. We've got
Tell us,
Colombia.
what is the most like say the furthest place that you're watching us from?
I suppose heaven.
Not yet.
We do have people tuning in from Iran usually, don't we? In the Middle East. Is that the furthest? We have people tuning in from India. Like, how far can we go? But we have Sophia in Madeira. And Sophia, we're going to be seeing your pretty face later.
Uh-huh.
Evangeli and Tasura say kisses from that place.
Yaltra.
Yaltra.
Yaltra
Yeah, there you
is
go.
where my
there you
mom
go.
is spending time now. Yes. Yaus Tosula, Yaus Evangeli.
Yeah, and then and so that's all of our regulars and all the people who are tuning in so far. And one last thing about God and Jesus and all of that.
Yeah.
I heard in the Islam faith that, you're supposed to pray 5 times a day, right?
Mhm.
But if you're super rich and very busy, you can pay other people to pray on your behalf.
Is that true? Is that true? Microphone Sobhi, is it true?
I heard you can.
And
I
I also
would deny
heard that it
that.
used to be like 50 and then it was reduced to 5, wasn't it?
Yes, thanks to Jesus.
Can you tell us how this
Thank
happened?
you, Jesus.
Yeah.
Jesus.
So basically, during Ramadan, nowadays it's Ramadan.
Uh-huh.
So Muhammad, the Prophet, went to God to get what would become the prayer for Islam, for Muslims. And the first thing that God told him was, you tell Muslims to pray 50 times a day.
Wow.
So in his way back to earth, he encountered Jesus. And Jesus said, no. They will not take it.
It's too
Go
much.
back to God and tell him to reduce it. So he went back and God said, okay, 45. And so Muhammad went back and Jesus was like, no. Go back and tell him. And this
Wow.
went like up and down
What a
until it was
negotiation.
reduced
So it was
to
dropped
5.
by 5 from 50 to 5.
Yeah.
Wow. But yeah, right? Yeah, it's a good deal. Okay. Sorry to interrupt you. You were saying?
But is it true that you can pay people to pray on your behalf?
Oh yeah, is that true? No.
Are you sure?
I can tell
mean-
you about my references later, but I am sure.
I mean, my sketchy anecdotal story could be true.
Or not.
There's a chance. There's
Yeah.
a chance.
Right. Do you have more comments from the audience?
No, that's all I got in
would
my
really
tiny
love
notebook.
to hear where they're watching us from, and I would really love to hear about their relationship with the divine, and also like something, this is personal reflection. I've noticed that I would call myself an atheist some years ago, and I would not even dare to host a night that is titled OMG because I would consider it to be a very touchy subject. But lately I see an urge from myself to connect to something, to have some sense of spirituality, and I see a lot of people around me in this past year that they felt challenged, and somehow they tried to find a way to reestablish a connection to some sense of spirituality.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm seeing it all the time. And this whole thing of minding yourself and being aware and being conscious, I think that's all another connection to spirituality. And that people are frightened by the word God or by dogma or by structure.
Mhm.
So we should definitely have spirituality in our life. And as I say all the time, I get it in my garden. However, that reminds me, we have a question tonight. When's the last time you said, oh my God,
Mhm.
involuntarily?
Mhm.
When is it?
I usually say it when I see something very, very beautiful, like so beautiful or so nice that it, like my mind can't doesn't have the capacity to take it. Like when I see something extremely beautiful, I go like, oh my God, like how did this come? Like when I see, I don't know, beautiful landscape or like big mountains or like the vast sea, and in these moments, or where the pyramids in Egypt, like you look at it and you go like, oh my God, like how did this thing come to existence?
So stunning beauty.
Yeah, stunning beauty is what triggers my oh my God. What is for you?
Chocolate.
Chocolate. Okay, and what other questions do we have for our audience?
Oh, we have a few more, yes.
We have 2 more questions.
Have you ever experienced a miracle moment? And do you know what I have? Will I tell you?
And not now. Let's wait for them to
I-
tell us first, and then we can share ours.
Numero 3.
Mhm.
Is there something you've been doing long enough or officially enough that it could be considered a ritual?
So how do we replace daily rituals that are connected to religion, perhaps like
Mhm.
prayer,
Yeah.
church, and stuff like that? Like how do we replace those rituals and with more like contemporary things or non-religious related? You would
Yeah,
say?
I think lots of people have natural rituals that
Mhm.
fall into their daily
Mhm.
routine. And
You know what's it for me?
what is it for you?
Chocolate. No, it's actually coffee, but yes. Are we ready to go into the first story?
Super ready.
Yeah. Yeah, let's get this thing started. Okay, for the first story of tonight on this carpet, we've got someone who's joining us, as I said before, for the first time on the live stream. She's opening the night, and we know what that means. She needs a warm round of applause. Please put your hands together for the lovely Ashley. Woo!
Hi. So, growing up with my mother was like growing up in the Dutch springtime. And I think if you guys think back to a couple weeks ago, there was hail, there was beautiful sunshine and birds chirping, and then there was more hail. And that was pretty much the story of my life back then. She would be a couple weeks on the couch watching Jerry Springer and Jeopardy, and we would be making our own dinner. And then everything would flip around, and she would be sharing baby pictures with people I knew at the local grocery store. So, you know, and we also didn't have that much money growing up. Anything extra, anything like super fun, that would all come directly from the church. So we would have the church version of the thing. So I wanted to learn how to sing, so we had church choir. And I wanted to go to summer camp, so we had vacation Bible school, which, you know, didn't matter to me one iota because I was always going outside and running and playing, and what I really loved was adventure in any way I could find it. So that meant climbing trees and digging through the stacks of the library books. I just wanted to know everything, and I wanted to explore everything. And one day, the library was having a library book sale. So bonus, very cheap books, like 10 cents, 20 cents. I had that. I had at least that, pocket money. And I found the most amazing book I had ever laid my eyes on. The big book of Tell Me Why. It had answers to all of the questions I never even thought to ask. Why is the sky blue? Because of the refraction of the light. Refraction. And why are leaves green? Chlorophyll. So cool. There was a whole section on subatomic particles. There was a section on the human body. It talked about the muscles and the joints. It talked about puberty. I learned a lot from that book. And I just wanted to apply that knowledge everywhere I could. So I would go outside and try and find anything natural to look at. I would grab leaves from the trees and I would hold them up to the light to see if I could see the chlorophyll. I could totally see the chlorophyll. I was sure of it. And I just wanted to be outside, always. And I'd heard something. A couple of my friends were talking about scouts. Scouts. It sounded really cool. They would go on camping trips, they would lay under the stars, and they would learn how to identify the different bird sounds they heard. They would make fire. It sounded like the coolest thing. I could live outdoors all the time if I went to Scouts. So I started my campaign. Mom, can I go to Scouts? Mom, can I go to Scouts? Mom, Scouts, Scouts, Mom, Scouts, Scouts, can I go to Scouts? And eventually, she pulled through, to her credit. She's pretty good at pulling through with that sort of thing. I got a version of Scouts, the church version. Gems. Girls everywhere meeting the Savior. And it had pretty much everything. It had everything Scouts had. It had this blue sash. You could cover in badges that you could earn. And you'd meet with a whole bunch of different girls, people your age, right? Interesting. And some of the badges, one I remember very particularly was baking a cake. There was another badge for reading the first 10 chapters of the Bible. There was one for knitting. So pretty much anything you needed to know to survive as a young Christian woman in the suburbs. And I went, because I just thought, if I pray for camp, it'll come. And I did my best. And at some point, I had about 6 badges by that moment. There was this big event coming up. It was the event of the season. It was the GEMS Ottawa Regional Conference thing. It was in this big, old, renovated church outside of town, and everyone was super excited about it. Anyone was going to be there. So, we got in our Sunday best. We put on our little sashes, showing our badges with pride, and we got in this white church bus, ate cookies, sang church songs. The church songs were on point. And we got there, rocked up to this big church. And when I walked into the church, the thing that struck me first was the ocean of blue sashes. All of these girls in their perfect outfits with blue sashes covered in badges. Covered. It was like military regalia. These girls were beaming with pride because they had earned that. I had my 6 badges, but I was doing my best. And I walked into the fray. And, I looked at the crafts tables that they had. They were talking about their charity and all that stuff. And, I had a bit of a headache. It was weird. I had a bit of a headache and my stomach was hurting. I was thinking, maybe I ate too many cookies on the bus. And then something weirder happened. I had not peed myself. I knew that I would have known if I had peed myself. So I had not peed myself, but I was wet down there and I didn't know what was going on. So I looked around. First of all, I looked down to see if there was a wet spot. No wet spot, okay. Was anyone watching me? No. I ran. I hightailed it to the nearest bathroom, brushing past this older girl who looked at me like I was crazy, and into a stall and barricaded myself in. And I looked down to see what the heck was happening, and oh my God, blood. It was like a stigmata. It was not good. I did not like it. And I thought, wait a second. I know what this is. This is my period. This is my period. I read about this in the big book of Tell Me Why. It had to happen today. Okay. And there was a little knock on my door. It was the older girl who had seen me, obviously red-faced, run into this room. And she asked, "Are you okay?" And I just sort of squeaked, "Yeah, I'm fine. I'm perfectly fine." And waited until I heard the door closed. And I thought, who do I tell? Who do I tell about this? There was no one I could tell. Because, well, I was reading the big book of Tell Me Why. They were reading a different big book. We had all, at the beginning of GEMS, gotten the Extreme Teen Bible. And this was an entirely different Red Sea. So I, being the survivalist that I was at the time and always will be, I made a MacGyver solution with toilet paper. Any women out there probably knows what I'm talking about. And, I learned quick. And then I steeled myself and I thought, I can do this, and stared at myself and then checked myself first to make sure there was nothing going on. And then got out back into that crowd and pretended everything was normal and did not look at any other person because I could swear they were all staring directly at me. Finally, the day ended, and then we took the bus and we got home, and I ran upstairs, discarded all of my soiled clothing and covered myself in a quilt and just breathed. And, I did go to GEMS a couple times after that, but kind of petered out. I didn't feel like there was a match. I didn't feel like it was so honest. And I just felt, it was so small. Because, all those kids, they were GEMS. And I was a WEM. And I had a lot of adventures to go on. Thank you very much.
A warm round of applause for Ashley, opening the night. Bravely opening the night. What a great story. Thank you so much. Yes. Online applause as well. This is one of the things that I failed to say at the beginning, but of course, if you've been watching the show for a while, you know this already. This is a place that used to be full of people, and there was seated all around this carpet, and we're listening to people sharing stories. And of course, the reaction was immediate, and the reward of putting yourself in this vulnerable spot and sharing a personal experience was immediately rewarded, and we felt carried somehow, and we felt safe to share all those personal things. So now this relationship has changed, but I think we can still establish some sort of connection. So I'm sure that you can put all your love in the comments, and then Ashley will go back home and rewatch the episode, and then read all the comments and make sure that everyone liked it, or everyone supported, or even if you didn't like, or even if there was something, a suggestion, like, feel free to give us your feedback. But first, give us your love. This is what we need. Are we ready to go already into the next story? Yeah. I really love the wham. The wham thing was really spot on, very strong. The next story is coming from someone you've seen before on this carpet many times. He's been wading the waters of religion for many years. He's crossed through all of them: Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, Christianity, Buddhism, and he's here to tell us what he made of this journey. Please welcome on stage the wonderful Sobhi Hatib.
Thank you. And thank you for being there to listen to this story. OMG is sometimes what I get when I tell about my religion story. Like Ashley, I also dived very young into books, but actually into religion books out of choice, out of love. I love God a lot. I love Thee so much that it didn't really matter the format, in the sense that I started my way as a Muslim who wanted to be a very good Muslim. And when I talk about good Muslim, I mean I was 10 years old, I would go to the mosque, I would read the Quran, I would read also all the explanations of it. But that wasn't enough for me. I would just dive into more and more things. And I had a good access because my grandfather was the imam. He was the sheikh, which meant I could do everything I wanted in the mosque, and I would be able to lead the prayer myself, even as a 10 years old. That changed when I joined a Catholic private high school. And you might ask, why would you join a Catholic high school? Well, it's a bit complicated, but in Palestine, public schools are not the best. The ones that are really good are the private schools. And the private schools are all Christian. For historical reasons, let's not go there. And there, I started to learn about a different version of God, or what they thought is a different version of God. And being the one loving God so much, I decided that this would be my new path. So I started reading more and more about Christianity. And I loved it until after 1 year. Because the more I dived into it, the more I was like, there's some things I cannot align with. But that didn't stop that search. But on the other hand, like any of you know, when you become a teenager and your body is changing and things are happening, some questions start to come. And the question for me was like for many others, I guess, where is God? Maybe some of you thought about the other questions about sexuality, I know. But for me, that was the thing, with God. So I started writing letters to God. Letters of love, letters of anger, letters of just wanting to be close with her. I wanted very much that, but I never got a reply. Or I would think that I got a reply and I would write it down. But that void couldn't be filled only with those letters. So I decided to fill it with creating something, because I always believe when you cannot find something, found it. So I found it, or kind of collected my set of beliefs. And slowly, I wanted to tell others about it, But I would always be faced with the same questions, almost in the same order. Oh, so you have a new religion. What is it called? What's your miracle? And I hated those two questions. Because people, I'm talking to you about principles, about beliefs, about something so big. And that's what's important. What's the name? So, yeah, right. I called it Subhism. And I called it Subhism, well, following the example of one of the colleagues that we all know. I'm just looking here about like what happened, but it's fine. And following that, and being very much, I would say, like trying to focus on Subhism and trying to make people understand what it's about, it was really hard to do. It was really hard to make people go into that thing that I really wanted to express and to love. So after 1 year, I left Subhism. I left Subhism, and that was a bit of a weird thing for the people who believed in Subhism. Because you can imagine, for those of you who have never met a prophet, here is an next one, and it's a tough job. And it's also not very easy for those who follow you and then you leave. But that couldn't be the end of my journey, and I couldn't stop there. So I dived more into Judaism, which was a bit complicated, being a Palestinian in Israel, not the best way to go. But still, for a while, I actually was going every Friday to tell the stories from the Old Testaments to a crowd of Jewish Israelis and explaining those stories, until one story they didn't really like when I talked about when you take the people, when Moses took the people through Sinai and told them, and here is the land of Israel. And then I added from myself, and some people call it Palestine. But that wasn't taken very nicely. So that was actually my very last Shabbat, I would say, thing that I gave. But even then, it was hard to stop. And I needed to feel that thing, that love to God, that search for God, which no one could really fill for me. It was so much ingrained. And then I saw this thing about Buddhism, which everyone, I guess, like we know it here with this like nice tattoos and people just doing some meditation and yoga, which is nice and great. But when you want to dive into something like, I like to dive really into things, I was like, okay, I would love to dive into Buddhism. So I will go into that and I will learn it. But not to India because it's a bit too dirty and there are a lot of mud and things. So what's the second best thing for me to learn about Buddhism? So I went to Japan. They're also Buddhists. So I went to Japan, and there I spent my, I would say, like Buddhist training in that monastery, where you woke up with the sunrise, with the bell ringing, and you wake up and you start running. And you run, first of all, basically to practice, and then you do some exercises, and then you go and meditate, and then you have your breakfast. And then you have teachings, and after the teachings, you have another meditation. And then you have a bit of exercises, then you have your lunch, then meditation, then teaching, then you will have your dinner, and it's sunset, you go to bed, all in silent. When I say silent, you cannot even put the cup like that, because it would make noise. You put it like this. And there I learned a lot about ceremonies. But also it felt like I'm going back to that thing of Christianity and Islam and Subhism and Judaism. It felt all the same in a way. It felt all the same but different. And I was thinking, what am I trying to fill really? What am I trying to reach? And I think I was really trying to fill that love. That love that I was looking for getting it from outside or getting it inside. But then I think I reached that point where I still love God a lot. I still have some of my leftovers of rituals and ceremonies from Subhism days, a little bit from Christianity, a little bit from Buddhism, a little bit from Islam. But I still wonder, when would you write me back, God? Thank you.
Thank you for the story, Sobhi. Followed by a wonderful song by Erik Sjöholm, who's been spitting hits like this. You know him, you've seen him before. This is Erik and the Unmutables sharing Erik's new song called The Sorcerer.
I'm a tiny little grain of sand in the big old desert. I'm a twinkling star of the bright and open sky. I'm a man with many names and many faces. A magician playing foolish little games. I'm a tear in the salty, salty ocean. I'm a shadow on the bottom of your grave. I'm a man with many claims and many phrases. A trickster playing cards without a name. Is this what you've been looking for? You've been looking for so long. We gotta move on. I've been hopping right around on many, many different islands. I've been fishing for a friend to call my own. I've been listening close to every kind of people. The more we talk, the less they seem to know. I will beg you for forgiveness and take you on a ride home to my own island where we'll have a good time. Home to my own island where we'll have a good time. Is this what you've been looking for? Take it away!
Erik Sjöholm and the Unmutables. We got Laycee on the drums, Georgi on the bass, Chale on the cello. Say welcome to Chale. And we got Abriel Ferreira on the trumpet. This was Erik Sjöholm. Erik, what a wonderful song. Thank you for sharing this with us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Wow, 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 wow. First of all, I'm super grateful that you've been spitting hits for the past months, and you've been sharing songs on the theme of the episode every time. It's really great. Will we have you here on the next live stream on the 30th, or is this the time to say goodbye?
No. It's one more.
One more. We'll have Erik for one more episode, ladies and gents. Any moments of divine intervention? Any moments? Any comments so far of what has been shared? Anything? I know Abriel wanted to share something before. You were sharing something with me about the no. Yeah. Like moments of divine intervention. You have a story. You can use your microphone, Abriel. Okay, use one of the voice microphones. This is Abriel Ferreira on the trumpet. What would you like to share with us?
Well, I'm a music teacher, and I teach third grade or Groep 5, like 8-year-olds. And I had a little boy come to me, and he said, "Yif, they told me on the Zoom lesson for the mosque, I can't be in music class because Allah's gonna get mad at me." And I'm really scared because if I play music, he's going to be really angry with me. And I was like, who told you that? This is like the music teacher's worst nightmare. But
how did you respond to that? How did you deal with it?
Well, I asked him, I said, so, tell me where are you from? He said, well, my parents, they ran away from the Taliban from Afghanistan when I was a baby in my mommy's tummy. And I'm thinking, of course, like, oh my gosh, the irony of this, because there's no country in the world that bans music, but there it was. But then I had a little discussion with them, and you can't say too much because you have to let that to the higher powers, but this time the higher powers of the school. But I did say, I've always, I know that Islam is love, like just like you were saying, Sobhi was saying. And music is love. So I hope that you aren't afraid, and that you just continue to make music. And they had a discussion, and then he came, like, in that lesson, he was really scared. You could see he wanted to play his ukulele, but you could see internally, because he's 8 years old. So he's like, I want to do the right thing. I want to listen to my teacher. But he also, but God is getting mad at me. So it was like, oh my God, I wanted to cry.
No, he's not getting mad.
Yeah, but afterwards he was fine, and
ukulele is barely an instrument, first of all.
Exactly.
Sorry.
but afterwards he, I don't know what happened, if he had a conversation with his parents or the school, but the next week he came and he was excited to play, and it was like it didn't happen. So I guess I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but I
love
hope
prevailed. That's what happened, Abriel. Love prevailed.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing the story. Thank you so much. And do we have more stories from the lovely band? Would you like to share something before we go into the next segment?
About divine intervention?
About divine intervention or the need for spirituality or anything like this?
Pretty tall order.
But,
I don't know. Anything weird?
Georgi, is your mom watching tonight?
I hope so.
Yeah, so you want to say hi to your mom?
Zdrasty, mama.
Very nice. Joseph dear, how are you doing over there at the other side of the room?
I'm so well. How are you?
Very, very well. I feel so energized after the music.
Yes,
like always, it gives me a lot of strength. Would you like to present the next segment? Would you like to tell the people what are they about to watch?
I would love to. And I want to mention what I said to you earlier as well, which I'm talking to here. So earlier we were saying that Erik is from Finland, which let's say is like Scandinavia. It's like the north of Europe. And then Anastasis is from Greece, which is like the south of Europe. And then I'm from Ireland, which is like the west of Europe. And then Georgi is from Bulgaria, which is like the east of Europe.
Yeah.
But our group, we're kind of lacking someone from Central Europe. We don't really have a German or a French or an Italian.
Yeah, we're missing the heart, really. A German should bring this to the show.
We're lacking.
Where are you?
We're lacking a sort of sacred European heart, So if that's you, send us a message, and maybe you could fill our hearts with your godly love. Otherwise, let's go on over to some Vox Pops. What we did was a couple of weeks ago, we went for a walk with this lovely man. His name is Kors Hoob. He's gorgeous and he's single, boys and ladies. And you're going to see now, we were in like a cherry garden. It was totally gorgeous. And Finnegan was with us. And one more thing, Sobhi, well done. Finnegan had an accident mid-story, and Sobhi, like a professional.
I'm not sure if it was an accident. It felt like a moment of divine intervention, because there was a guy on stage like talking about all these religions, and maybe guy was like, we should put a stop to this. So he made Finnegan throw up in front of Sobhi while he was telling the story. If that's not divine intervention, then what is?
Thank you
You're
for
welcome.
stopping me from censoring Finnegan's opinion. You're right. You're right. I was being an overprotective
He's not an
mom.
opinionated dog. She's just a messenger. He just delivered a message in front of Sobhi's feet.
So that was my oh my God moment. But in the Amsterdam Sabos, in the Cherry Garden, we had some more oh my God moments. So let's check it out. Let's go. Hey, welcome to Lockdown and Listen Vox Pops number 2. We're here in Amsterdam Sabos in the Cherry Orchard looking for a really cool storyteller called Poor Hoop. He's a regular at Mezrab and I'm a big fan of his. I also heard recently that he's single, so that's interesting. We're going to be talking about the topic of OMG. So let's go look for Poor right now in the Cherry Orchard and see what he has in store for us. Come on, Finnegan, seek Poor. Seek. Look for Poor. No, he's definitely not that way. Seek. Come on. They say don't work with animals and children. I work with both. Come on, Finnegan. Come on, honey. How are you guys?
Fine.
Good. Let's go for a walk.
Sure.
So, do you also do stand-up?
Yeah, I do stand-up. Actually, I'm doing that on a Sunday for the first time since the lockdown in a test location. But before and hopefully after the lockdown, I'll do it almost full time. Yeah.
And is your stand-up like storytelling with jokes built in?
Yeah, it's more towards that than purely one-liners. Yeah, it's basically very dense stories filled with jokes. Yeah.
I see trees of white and clouds of white. I didn't really see them bloom 2 weeks ago when they bloomed, but the people must have thought to themselves, what a wonderful world.
Yeah, that's a good question. So it has to follow up. The first two words have to be "oh my," right?
Well, what would be your like non-religious reaction to something that surprises you to replace OMG or to enhance it?
So when you say "oh my God," you basically asking a God to help you out. So in that sense, I don't believe in God. Who can help me out now during a lockdown? It's the government. So I'll probably say, "Oh my Mark," which is the prime. Oh my Rutte. Yeah. Do you remember the last time you used "oh my God"?
Yeah.
When was it?
Well, I'm a software developer, so I saw some piece of code.
Yeah.
That it was really it was terrible. So I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is such bad written. Oh my God.
And what were you coding that day?
I work for a video streaming company, and we have some legacy stuff, and some people left the company, and we have to take that code over and rewrite it. So I was just looking at this and was like, no, oh my God.
Yesterday evening.
Yesterday evening. Okay, great. And what for?
I was pirating with some friends. I was playing a video game. It's called Sea of Thieves. And we were being pirates.
Yeah.
And someone attacked us. And we were screaming because the boat was on fire.
Okay. Cool. What's the name of the game?
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves.
Yeah.
Cool. And nice. And yours?
Yesterday evening as well, but I was watching a documentary about OnlyFans. And then I was like, oh my God, what are you doing? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
Maybe this week. I don't remember. Yes. But I use other expression, more Argentinian.
Such as?
La puta madre.
La puta madre. The whole word is that way.
Well, you do say like, oh my mom or my dad, like soldiers who died, they were crying for their moms, right?
Yeah.
So maybe that's but is in that sense your parents made you.
Yeah. So they are God.
They are God.
Oh my God, they're your God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
I see men from Ireland, men on average from Germany. I see the Greeks and the Palestinians too. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
Okay. Oh, I'm glad he followed us. See? This is what married life would be like, Cor.
Yeah.
You, me, and the dog.
Yeah.
And if you have faith, that's, hats off to you.
Yeah.
That was something I did in drama therapy. I did a 2-year course, and at the end, in my Viva Voce checkout, I'd spent a long time struggling with spirituality and God, and does it exist or not.
Yeah.
And at the end, I started crying because I was so jealous of people who had faith, and I wished that I could have faith.
That's exactly what the same. I think, except for jackets, we also have that in matching because I wish I had faith too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
It would be fucking great.
I try my best really to avoid the phrase because, as you said, the English-American version is like overinflated, kind of it loses its meaning. Like you might say, "Oh my God, thank you for getting me a coffee."
Yeah.
Oh my God, the bus is here. So we don't really use it in shock, but in moments of being touched, it slips out.
Yeah, it would be a very busy God. if you have to react to every "Oh my God," which an American says.
Yeah, me like 8 minutes ago with you.
But we are speaking Spanish.
Oh, you speak Spanish. What was the occasion? What did you say, or what happened? Did you say, "Oh my God"?
She was telling me about the date that she had. So I said like, "Oh my God, that's amazing."
Okay. Choose it in a positive
I cannot reveal anything else.
Yeah. No, don't worry. Nobody watches. But the you say, "Oh my God," no?
For me it's just a saying.
It's just a saying.
They're asking many questions to the people walking by about the topic of the live stream that you're watching probably right now. I don't really see them shaking hands because we're doing social distancing. Oh, I really wish that the social distancing would end, but it hasn't. We still have it, but it's still a wonderful world.
If you had to replace God, the God element, how would you replace the phrase "Oh my God"?
I wanted to say "Oh my Lord," but that's like it's still the same.
Maybe "Oh my landlord" because it's Amsterdam prices.
For me, it's music.
Yeah.
Really. Yeah. That can can relax me. It can excite me. It really almost feels like spiritual because you're not in the room anymore. You just get carried away by the music. For me, that's always a very religious experience.
And so the phrase for you might be "Oh my music." Right? Yes. And then, I'm so sorry, was your name Cherise?
Yes, that's correct.
And what's your spirituality outlet?
Well, I try to meditate and practice yoga as well. Yeah, it would be like "Oh my namaste."
Oh my namaste. Oh my music. Oh my namaste. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Oh my namaste.
Oh my namaste. I wonder if we reflect on our time here in the beautiful cherry garden, what was the thing that surprised you the most? What did you learn today?
First of all, that two guys in denim outfits look fabulous.
We do.
And for you?
I think it's so amazing and random that the people that we chose, 3 of them were from Argentina. This Catholic interconnection across Poland, Ireland and Argentina for me was a moment.
Yeah, that was a moment for you?
Yeah, it was an OMG moment.
Yeah. And but that's true. Basically, we only had Dutch or Argentinians, so it's like our royal couple. That's what we had for today. Yeah, and they were all Catholics. Yeah,
all Catholics.
Yeah.
All Catholics. Thank God.
Yeah,
Thank
God.
And now
that's actually what we're doing here. We're just checking if everybody's Catholic.
Hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks so much to Core. Thank you for joining us at Unmutables. We hope you enjoyed our little stroll there in the Japanese blossomed gardens. Joseph, did you enjoy your visit with Core at the Unmutables?
Yeah, it was such a lovely day, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was grand. If you want to know more about Core, I'm sure Philip is now dropping all the details in the chat because he's an amazing storyteller, an amazing comedian, an improviser, and he's super talented. He has podcasts that he's doing now, all sorts of things. So it would be really great if you want to follow Core's work. You will find all the details in the comment section. Tell me more about Unmutables and your impression from the Japanese gardens and the people you met there.
So we were like wandering around talking to people freely, and everyone was in a very chill, peaceful mood and open. Like literally no one said no. Oh wait, one couple said no. Almost no one said no. So it was really sweet and warm and kind. And then you recorded that song, and it was a great atmosphere. And so we were saying, what is your last "Oh my God" moment? And does God mean God to you in that phrase? And almost everyone said it doesn't mean God. It's like it's a throwaway phrase.
Yeah.
And I was saying the last time that I said it, it was more like in respect to my family, out of joy, where one of my brothers had turned 40 and the other brother and his wife had gotten together to send him a gift, and they'd included my name on the gift, which they didn't have to do. And they'd gotten him a bottle of wine, and they had a label on it that said, my brother's name is Dara, that was called Dara wine, and they sent him chocolates with his names on it. And I just thought it was a very sweet touch, you know, like the importance of names in our family, and it made me go, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. Oh my God thing is weird because, like as you said at the beginning, like also in Greek, like if you say Othemu, like you were considered, or when I was growing up in the 80s, you would be considered as an ultra like religious person,
Yeah,
right? So
yeah.
if you were not, then you would avoid any kind of such references. But then thank the Americans and the culture.
Thank you, America.
And all the series and the movies and Netflix and all of it that brought it, like MTV and all of it, that brought it back, basically, brought and made it a catchphrase. Like, oh my God. And now in Greece, you don't say Othemu anymore. You say, oh my God.
Oh my God.
Or even better, like, because it's written OMG.
Yeah.
But then in Greek, we don't have these letters. So O is O.
Yeah.
And then M is me.
Yeah.
And then G is Z.
Oh.
So we say Omidzi.
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 Omidzi. Omidzi. Omidzi.
Omidzi ke tria lol, which means LOL 3 times. Like Omidzi ke tria lol.
And you know, in Irish we say a hunamendil, and it means goodness to the devil.
Ooh.
A hunamendil. It's Northern Ireland Irish, so it's really inaccessible. A hunamendil, like happiness of the devil. But also somebody in our comments said, do you remember in Friends? Oh my God.
Oh yes. What's her name? Yeah.
It was Ola in Warsaw. Thank you so much, Ola, for reminding us of Janet.
Janet, exactly, from Friends.
Such a huge part of the 90s.
Yeah.
Colossal.
Can you do an impression of Janet? Yeah,
Janice.
Oh my God, Chandler Bing.
Exactly.
And while we have that voice, there's so much love for Philip tonight coming directly from Canada.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, just his family.
But he has a very big family.
Which represents half of Canada.
Who else is in the comments? Tell me
we've
more. Give me more.
loads.
Give me more.
Oh, I'm glad.
Give
Is
me
it that
stories.
moment? Let's do it.
Yes.
Oh, pages and pages. Ruland, a storyteller who's also Irish-Belgian.
Hi, Ruland.
Says, buttery smooth stream on YouTube. What a lovely description. You must be a storyteller. So Sophia says, oh God. In Portugal and in Madeira, they also have Saint Anthony as a person that you pray to when things are lost. But you need to tie a piece of string around the leg of a table and walk around it 3 times. So the Greeks are baking pie and the Portuguese are walking in circles to find things. Jay Bonifi says, Joe, white suits you. You look like a modern Italian man. Thank you very much.
Hi, Jaya. Thanks for watching.
And they're close to God. They believe in God, I'm sure. Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So, hello from Canada. We love Philip Melchers.
Yes.
Ursula says, Anthony is also working in Poland. So, we've got Anthony in Greece, in Ireland, and Poland, and Portugal.
Nice. Also with a pie? Is it a pie thing with Anthony?
No. So, Ursula, what do you do to praise Saint Anthony in your country? What sort of hoops must you jump through? Let us know.
What pleases Anthony in your country? Yeah.
What is your Anthony ritual? And then Alkis says hi from London. What a great name.
Yes, Alki.
Erik says hi from Amstelveen. Hey, Erik.
Hello.
And Ruland said the last time that he naturally said, oh my God, was today. Himself and his girlfriend were taking waste, like biological waste, to the Worm Hotel. So for anyone outside of the Netherlands, they have these bell-shaped things in neighborhoods where you can open a flap and throw in your vegetables, and then the worms eat them. So it's like a worm hotel. It's a lovely Dutch thing. When they opened the flap today, the smell made them go, oh my God. All right, Albors. The last time Albors, the brother of Sahand, said, oh my God, it was when Sahand was being silly with his daughters. Oh, Sahand, congratulations to your twins. What a lovely story. Ursula says, does anyone remember Janice? We did that one. Thanks, Ursula. Patty said, so good to hear Philip's voice. And Sobhi rocks from Manjit Krishna Kaur. Do you know Manjit?
Whoop, whoop. Yeah, Krishna, of course.
Krishna. Krishna's watching. Hey, Krishna.
Krishna is she still organizing the Fifth Friday Sisterhood nights? But you're hosting the next one, right?
I'm hosting the next one next Friday.
Next Friday, where? When you want to tell us where, when, how?
Yes. There is, I think, the details are in Facebook event. Maybe
Okay. I
Krishna,
think Philip probably already shared them on the chat. But what is the event?
So Fifth Friday Sisterhood is
Mike.
like having.
Mike. Yeah, go ahead.
Mike.
Yes.
Sure.
Fifth Friday
Hello.
Sisterhood, yes. Who used to
Yeah.
host their nights at Mezrab years ago.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's actually started at Mezrab when there was a Fifth Friday and
And we didn't know what to do with it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So this is how it started, and then it went to other venues,
Uh-huh.
and now, well, since Corona, we're online, and we do it every fifth Friday, which is 4 or 5 times a year,
Nice.
and it's in April.
Okay.
We don't record, we don't stream, we just like have the event.
It's on Zoom, right?
It's on Zoom.
But it's not streamed, it's not broadcasted, it's not recorded. So the people who
Exactly.
are participating, they can turn on the cameras and they can look at the storytellers and yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
that's the essence of it.
Casual, relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah.
Very nice.
And the theme is who's normal?
Who's normal?
Or who's normal?
Who's
According to whom is it normal?
Mm-hmm.
And that's our yearly theme. So we have one theme for the whole year. And next Friday would be our event. It starts 7:45.
And you're gonna be
please
hosting it.
join. I will be hosting.
Great.
Anastasias would be.
Let's see,
there
because
maybe.
I might have a rehearsal. We will see if I
Yeah,
can
yeah,
join.
and
But
there
yes,
are many
probably
other,
Georgi will be playing a song in there
yeah.
as well. Georgi from the band. Yeah. He agreed. I didn't tell you about
great,
that. Yeah,
okay.
he agreed. I'll give you
And,
these details later. Yes.
So
we're
as you
already
can see, the event is still
in progress.
in
Very nice.
progress.
Very nice. Enjoy that.
Thank you.
Let me just say one moment because I think it's past time already. Can I have some lights in the Zal? Do we have some dates here? Because it is already time for iftar. Can I take this? Can I treat? Did you have one already? Did you break your fast already? Ramadan Kareem, everyone. Ramadan Kareem, everyone who's fasting. And I think I'm going to give this one date to Sobhi. Are you fasting? No. You don't deserve one then, I will know. But our lovely Sarah behind the camera is fasting. Can I give you a date? Yeah, would you like one? Yeah, there you go. That's Sarah. You're welcome. Thank you. Thank you for holding this gimbal and doing all this crazy hard work even after a whole day of fasting. And thank you for being with us. Anyone else would like a date? Not for you. Anyone else would like a date? No? Yes, Petros. Ella, Petro. There you go. Ramadan Kareem. You're starting fasting right now. Good. Never late. Never late. Ella, up here. One for you too. Thank you. Yeah, please enjoy. Enjoy. Would you like a date? No, okay. Are we ready to go into the next story? I didn't hear that actually. Are we ready to go into the next story? The next story is coming from this side of the room, and you got 2 biblical references in one. It's Noah from the ark. Like Noah, you know the Noah. He survived to tell the story, but he's not telling us this story. He's telling us another biblical story, which is the story of Jonah in the whale. Bible. Enjoy Noah's story. Have fun.
So I would like to tell you about Jonah, because Jonah talked to God, and God talked back to Jonah. And Jonah would go to his people, the tribe of Israel, and Jonah would tell these people what God and Jonah himself talked about. And the people listened and believed Jonah, which made him a prophet. That was his job. His job was to be a prophet to the people of Israel most of the time. And like most of us, when he began the job, he was very careful. He wanted to get everything right, dot your I's, cross your T's. And he also was, mindful of his boss. His boss was God, so of course you want to do right by God. But like most of us, after a while, especially if you're kind of good at your job, you start to get a bit loose, maybe cut some corners, not always listen to what your boss says. So that's the place Jonah was in when one morning God came and said to Jonah, "Jonah, my prophet, I have a new assignment for you." And Jonah said, God, what shall I say to the people of Israel today? And God said, "Jonah, you will not speak to the people of Israel. You will go to the south, to the city of Nineveh. They are living in sin. And you will tell them that they must cease their sinful ways, or I will destroy the city in 40 days. And Jonah said, God, you know everything, so you must know how I feel about the city of Nineveh. The buildings, they're ugly. The people, they're rude and they smell bad. The food, if you can even call it food, is inedible. And the king is a complete idiot. God, can you just maybe send someone else? Jonah, you will go to the city of Nineveh, and you will tell them to stop living in sinful ways. okay, but God, what if we just skip the whole profiting thing and you just destroy them? God? Well, Jonah did not want to go to that city. And so he had an idea. He thought, well, God always has a lot on their plate, you know? And maybe if I forget about it, then God will forget about it. And so Jonah went to the port and he hired some sailors to take him on a little vacation. He was going to go across the Mediterranean to the city of Tarshish. It's kind of near Italy. And so the sailors take Jonah on the boat and they make it out to about the middle of the Mediterranean when suddenly a storm comes from nowhere and the boat is being crashed and rocked around. The sailors, they've never seen anything like it. They can't control anything, and so they have an idea. They start to play dice. Dice? Why dice? Well, if you didn't know what was going on, you would throw the dice around, and then that would tell you who was at fault. So the captain takes the dice, rolls, and it's a 7 and an 8, so he's good. Then the first mate takes the dice and rolls them, and it's a 2 and a 3, also good. The cook, he takes the dice and rolls them, and it's a 1 and a 3, okay, good. And then they go, stranger, it's your turn. And so Jonah takes the dice. It's a 1 and a 1. And the sailors, they all look at Jonah and say, stranger, who are you? Why is this storm happening? And Jonah goes, okay, my name's Jonah. I'm a prophet to the people of Israel, and my God told me to go to Nineveh, but you guys know that Nineveh sucks, right? Who wants to go there? And I decided not to go, and so I hired you, and I guess I'm the reason the storm is happening. And the sailors go, your God told you to do something, you didn't listen? What is wrong with you? And Jonah looked at these poor sailors, scared for their life, and knew what he had to do. And so Jonah went to the side of the boat and leaped off. And as soon as he hit the water, the seas became calm and the sailors were safe. Jonah began to sink deep into the sea. And as water filled his lungs and the blackness was coming over him, he had one thought in his head, and it was, at least I didn't have to go to fucking Nineveh. And then a whale swallowed him whole. Now, we don't know for certain what was going on inside the belly of that whale, except for 3 days and 3 nights, Jonah prayed and prayed because he was really sorry. He said, God, I will do anything, just end this torture inside the whale. And so God heard Jonah, and God made the whale vomit Jonah onto a beach. Bleary-eyed, Jonah looks up from the sand, and what does he see? But it's the walls of the city of Nineveh. Okay, God, okay, God, I get it. Okay, you want me to come here, fine. And then Jonah has another idea. So God wants me to go and tell these people to stop sinning. Otherwise, he'll destroy them, or they will destroy them. And so Jonah realizes, you know what? If I just do the bare minimum effort, if I just really phone it in, that means I've done my task, the city will be destroyed by God, and everyone wins. Well, except for the people of Nineveh, but I'm happy and God's happy, so let's do this. So Jonah marches right into the city, and you have to imagine, Jonah, he hasn't slept for 3 days. His clothes are torn up. He's covered in whale vomit, and he's going from person to person going like, hey, you, stop living in sin, all right? And then he looks up to some other people in the window, hey, you, put your clothes on and stop doing that, otherwise God's going to destroy the city. And he even marches to the king and says, hey, king, if you don't stop living in sin, God, he's going to get rid of all of this. And Jonah is so confident that he's done a terrible job that he marches right out of the city and he goes and sits on a hill overlooking it because he's ready for the action. Oh, he's ready for that fire and brimstone. Oh, it's going to be great. And he even looks into the city and he sees that smoke is starting to rise out of it. But wait, that's not the smoke of fire and brimstone and destruction. No, that's someone making a sacrifice. And he looks even closer and he sees that people are, well, they're dressing themselves in sackcloths and they're on their hands and knees and repenting. And Oh my God, no, it's the king. The king has descended from his palace and he's taken off his princely clothes and he's wearing rags and he's covering himself in ashes and God loves it when people put ashes on their heads. Oh God. Jonah realizes it's over, that God will spare the city. And Jonah is just absolutely defeated sitting up on this hill. The sun is beating down on him. And so God makes a plant grow up behind Jonah with a huge leaf providing shade. Jonah can relax a bit, close his eyes and rest. And while Jonah is asleep, God sends a worm to eat this leafy plant. So that once again the sun is now beating down hot and heavy on Jonah's head. It's boiling him, and Jonah is finally broken. He says, God, I'm so sorry. Just end it all now, okay? I'm done. Just kill me. And God speaks to Jonah and says, Jonah, you are my prophet. You will go to where I tell you to go. You will say what I want you to say, and you will die when I tell you it's time to die. And Jonah was humbled before the Lord. Thank you.
Thank you, Noah. Bible. Yes. Do you know there's multiple versions of this story when it comes to the animal that ate Jonas? Like I've heard at least 3 different versions. So in Greek we say kitos, which means beast, probably because we hadn't seen a whale when it was translated. There was no whale in Greece, or they hadn't seen one. And in Turkish I think it's a dolphin. Can anyone confirm this? So I heard a dolphin, because that's what they'd seen.
Gulistan is watching, Turkish origin.
Yeah, Gulistan. Is it a dolphin in your version? And in other versions is whale, of course. But who knows? There might have been versions with like
yeah, but did the
shrimp.
Did the
like
end of
eating beats and pieces of Jonah? No, sorry.
Did the end of the story there strike you as like a toxic gay relationship?
Sorry, what?
Like you will do as I tell you.
Yeah,
you will obey me,
dominant,
and you will die when I'm ready for you to die.
Yeah.
Exciting.
Wow. And what about the vomit? And what about the vomit callback? Like this was
oh,
like
yeah. It was like Finnegan.
The next story is going to be Jonah and the whale. That's what he was trying to say.
He's learning English. Yeah. So he thought it was that story.
Very
so
nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. Thank you for sharing the story. We are going to go into a video because we said already that we talked with our dear friend Sophia Maou, who's watching us from the Madeira Island, and she's a storyteller and she's been watching the show for a long time. And I think you've seen her already. Like I think you've seen some of the stories that she shared with us. I called her up because last time she left a comment in the comment section that said that the Madeira Island was weathering a storm, but the storm was over and they could finally watch the episode. So I called her up to see what's happening in Madeira Island, and she was actually telling me about the Jesus. How do you say this?
A statue of Christ.
A statue of Christ, exactly. That was hit by one of the lightnings, because last live stream episode there was a big storm, and during that storm this statue was hit. And they had to go and repair it.
So, and in your faith, doesn't Zeus send lightning bolts?
Yeah, exactly.
So, was this like an interfaith collision?
Exactly. I think that's what was happening. So, more about Madeira Island, more about the storm that it weathered, and a really, really funny folk story, or I don't think it's a folk story, it's from a book, but a really funny story that Sophia discovered in a book on the theme of oh my God, and she's sharing it with us in this little Zoom chat that we had last week. So, enjoy the video and see you in a few minutes.
Yeah.
Good morning, Sophia.
Good morning.
How are you?
I am well, and you?
I'm very, very well. Wait, let me see if I got this this comment that you left last time, because I wanted to ask you something. You mentioned something about a storm.
Yeah, because we had a couple of weekends ago, we had on the weekend of the live, we had a really, really bad storm. With very, very bad rains, but the most incredible part was the thunder. My dad, he's 78 and lived here all his life, and he's never heard thunder like that. Really, really frightening. You know when you hear the thunder, when you see the lightning and the thunder is right after it, so it's really, really close. We had light outages, which is on the whole island was in the dark.
And that means that the entire island goes black.
The entire island. It was
blackout.
fascinating to watch. Wow. It was fascinating to watch. Me and Bali, my daughter, we went up on the terrace, and it was incredible to see the darkness.
And how often do you get these outages?
No, we don't.
Oh, you don't? It's not a common thing. It's not like, oh, there goes light again. No.
No, not at all.
Okay, because in my head, of course, like we've known you through the live stream and you've typed many times, I'm at the banana plantation. So in my mind, you live at a banana plantation where sometimes there is electricity, sometimes there's not, And then when I read your comment, this is how ignorant I am. Listen, it says Madeira Island weathered the storm and now has electricity to be able to enjoy this evening. So I was like, are they wind powered? Like I think the entire island is wind powered. And you were waiting for a storm, You were waiting for us to get some wind. And finally, after the storm, we can watch you guys. All right. Okay, so next episode, the theme is OMG. And I asked if you have a story for that fits the theme. So you found the story in this book?
In this book, which is Cercle des Menteurs, so Circle of Liars. But in Portuguese, it was translated into a much more interesting title, which is Tertúlia de Mentirosos. Shall I tell you again what tertúlia is?
Please.
Okay,
I thought it was turtles. I thought it was like something with turtle, no?
No, it sounds like it, but it's not. But tertúlia is a gathering of people, usually in the evening, to discuss things. Be it poetry, politics, just getting together to chat and sing and dance. And very often, for example, the group of storytellers that I worked with on the continent when I lived in Lisbon, we did many tertúlias with storytelling. So basically what you do at Mezrab is also a tertúlia.
It's also a form of tertúlia, yes. Tell us the story.
Okay, so there was this man, and he was a farmer and very, very pious. And from morning till night, he would stop his work and he would pray. And he prayed all day long. And at night, the last thing he did before closing his eyes was pray. And he was the most pious of men you could imagine. And one day he's working in the field and suddenly there's a clap of lightning and zoom, his favorite cow was killed by a bolt of lightning. Oh God, why me? Why me? She was my only cow and now I've got nothing. Why me? Why me? But he went back to his old ways of praying and praying and praying. And sometime later, he was in this field working, and suddenly lightning comes and burns down his house and his barn, and everything was burned to the ground. Oh, why me? Why me? And but he goes back to his old ways of praying, morning, noon, and night. And those are his days until one day he's out in the field and comes a lightning clap and hits him right on the head. And he's lying on the ground, barely alive. Why, God, why me? And at that moment, the sky starts opening up and a booming voice from above says, "It's just because sometimes you are so annoying." It's a terrible story.
Sophia, thank you so much for this story. That was so hilarious. Thank you for joining us, of course, and thank you for sharing your wonderful stories with us. Sophia had more stories to share, but the video was just getting, and this show is getting out of hand. It's getting too long. But maybe I'll share these extra bits after the episode. So in the next few weeks, I will be sharing more extras, things that we didn't have enough time to fit in the episode. Sophia, thank you so much. Thanks for the story. Thank you for always watching. Thank you for always supporting. If you liked Sophia's story, of course, you can find more about Sophia as a storyteller. You can see it on her page. Philip will give you all the information. Joseph, was there something that you wanted to say before we go into the next story?
Yes.
Something about the center of Europe. You tell me something's happening in the comment section.
Yes, we've started a bit of a squabble. So
we've been a bit offensive. We started with India. Suddenly we lost 20 people watching from India. They dropped. They left. And then Nineveh was also
we announced that we had a north, a south, an east and a west, and that we were looking for a centre, a European centre. And Clara, a storyteller known to Mezrab, who was here last year talking about the beginning of spring and kissing when the cherry blossoms are, snowing in windows. She says that the Czech Republic is the centre of Europe, and I believe you. Why wouldn't I? But Ursula in Warsaw says that Poland is the centre of Europe. And then that made me remember that actually Lithuania is officially, geographically, as far as I know, the centre of Europe, because Russia is huge, and where do you draw the lines? But then, of course, Austria and Ljubljana and all of these places are the centre of Europe, and Italy is the heart of Europe. So where is the centre of Europe?
Where's the centre of Europe, people?
Where
Where's the centre of Europe?
Where is it for you?
I have no idea. Geography is the only the main reason I was beaten as a child. So don't ask me. I know nothing about geography. Yeah.
Your understanding of geography is worthy of beating you.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes.
Okay.
Apparently, yes.
All right. Well, for me, as an Irish person from the extreme west, the centre of Europe is Hungary. I'm going to say sure. And is it Greek?
Fix your mic.
I'm
fixing.
Good save, Philip. Good save. He was about to announce the country.
Yeah, I have no idea. Considering Greece as a part of Europe or no?
Yeah, so Greece is like Southern Europe.
Thank you, Noah. Thank you. Appreciate it. Yes.
Greece is like Southern Europe.
Yeah.
South,
the
east.
middle would be, I don't know, in my understanding, but again, geography is not really my forte. But I would say France. Germany, France.
Germany,
no,
France.
Too far
no,
west.
that's west. That's all west.
I don't know. I really don't. Don't ask me.
Okay, so tell us where is the centre of Europe? Thank you.
Yeah. Anything else before we go into the next story?
No.
Is the rest of the room ready to go into the next story?
Yes.
Are you ready to go into the next story? Are you ready? Are you comfortable? Because it's the last story of tonight, and it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful, sweet story, and it's from this wonderful person who's sitting there on the couch and playing with Finnegan. You've seen her many times on this carpet. She's been a host of this show. She's a storyteller who joined and graced this stage with her folk stories many, many times. Tonight, she's coming with a personal story. Please welcome on the stage for the last story of tonight, the incomparable Sinead O'Brien.
Introduction. Oh my goodness, that was great. Hi everyone. I feel I have so this story I want to tell, normally I tell folklore, and I once or twice told personal stories, and this is sort of somewhere in the middle. It's more like an urban legend. It is a story that my father told me, and he swears that it is true, but it is from my father's drinking days, so I'm not so sure. Growing up as a kid in Ireland, whenever I heard like OMG or oh my God, that was in my family, that was the tourists. So again, we spent many summers when I was a small kid vacationing in Ireland. Before the government made you, we were just cheap. So I would be standing at some like castle ruin or like some stone wall or just a large standing rock, some sort of rubble. And my dad would be like, yes, our ancestors, fought a war here and this happened. And then you would just hear from like over the hill a loud booming, oh my God, Helen, it's a fogra. So in Ireland, everywhere where there is a bunch of rocks or a bit of history, there is a fogra, which is the Irish word for notice. So it's basically just like a little bit of history written down on a plaque. So it became a running joke in our family. Anytime you saw anything, be like, oh my God, it's another fogra. And we kind of have a history in our family of dealing with tourists. So my grandfather actually worked for Guinness his whole life, because we have all of the Irish stereotypes in my family. My grandfather worked for Guinness, my dad is an alcoholic, and I work in tourism. So my grandfather would have wonderful stories of, people, all the tourists would come to the Guinness factory and they would smell the Guinness and see the Guinness and pour their own Guinness, and then the doors would open and they'd be ferried out, and lo and behold, this ancient man would come walking past, just as they all flooded out into the streets, this old man with his beautiful little donkey and a little cart would sidle up the street, on his way, his coal in the wagon, or something, to bringing it to the factory. And again, you'd hear the chorus of, "Oh my God!" And they'd all have to stand in front of the donkey and throw their arm around the old man, and they'd give him some money, they'd take a picture. And what they didn't realize, my grandfather said, is that was John. And John would walk around the outside of the factory and had timed it perfectly so himself and the donkey would come into view in like 5 minutes after each tour finished. So I grew up in the 90s in Ireland, which is like growing up in the 80s anywhere else. I thought my parents were the Irish version of Power Rangers because they had matching shell suits. So there wasn't a lot of money going around, and tourists were like really exotic, and American tourists were like so cool because they're huge and they got these really shiny teeth. So there's a kind of a tradition in Ireland, and maybe Joseph can back me up on this, that we like to live up to the idea that the tourists have of Ireland. So the story I would have from my own experience, that's my grandfather's story. My story would be as a teenager getting the bus. I lived in a very picturesque part of Ireland, and occasionally on the bus into town, we would realize, all of us locals on the bus, that there was a crowd of day trippers, like tourists on the bus, and without fail, about halfway up well, we call it a mountain, but really it's a hill, the bus would suddenly stop, and everyone would, and the bus driver would get up, he'd get out of the bus, and he'd walk over to the edge of the road, and he'd wave at nothing, and then he'd get down and then, and he'd put out his hand, and then you'd watch him go like this, across the entire street. And then get to the far end of the road and wave at, again, nothing. And then go, get back into the bus and go, sorry, just it's a local leprechaun, I just had to help him. And off we go. So, yeah, it's a tradition in Ireland, shared by many locals. So the story that my father told me was his version of this sort of, locals living up to the ideas of tourists. And it's one that's really haunted me, because I was very young when I heard the story, and my dad swears it's true, but I hope it isn't. So back in his drinking days, there was a bar in the west of Ireland, and it was very popular because it was a trad bar, so it was like traditional music, and it was full of old men and alcoholics who would stay there for like evenings, weeks on end, and tourists. And there was one particularly old alcoholic called Paddy, because of course. And Paddy he was just an amazing storyteller, and he had a way with people, and he was so charming. And my dad obviously was spending a lot of time in this bar. He was up there for work and stayed, and he got to know Paddy. And Paddy would always finish the end of the night, he would have this like group of tourists from all over the world were just drawn to this man, small, with his pipe and his pint of Guinness and his stories. And my dad had started to notice that as people were like putting the chairs up and trying to hoosh out the stragglers and close the bar, there would always be one or two tourists left having a really quiet word with Paddy, and money would exchange hands. Quite a lot of money. And my dad was very curious. And so he watched. And he tells me that one night he stayed for the whole thing. Paddy would tell stories. He would talk about, St. Patrick an awful lot, and the saints of Ireland, and the relics, and then he would have bits of relics to sell. This was a scrap of cloth from, St. Bridget's cloak, or all this kind of stuff. But the end of the night, Paddy has this small group of tourists. My dad is like listening in. And Paddy starts to reveal that actually he works in an old cemetery. In the west of Ireland, we have entire villages that were wiped out by the famine. We have these mass graves. And Paddy tells the story, the story of St. Patrick and his journey to be a saint and coming to Ireland, all this kind of stuff. And at some point, at the very end of the evening, he pulls out of his bag
a human skull. And Paddy tells this enraptured audience of 4 or 5 tourists that this now is the skull of St. Patrick himself. And he goes on and he tells a beautiful, magical, incredible story that my father, of course, can't frickin' remember. But it was amazing. It would move you to tears. And inevitably, someone would go, and how much would it cost to have the skull of St. Patrick to bring home with me? You know, because I'm actually 1/16 Irish myself. I'm sorry to the Americans. I know that's probably very offensive. I'm sorry. And of course, Paddy would be like, oh, well, I couldn't part with it now, and it's a part of our history, and blah, blah, blah. So the price would go up, and the price would go up, and the price would go up. And what my dad hadn't noticed, because he was enraptured with this, and what Paddy also hadn't noticed, is that there were, in fact, 2 other tourists still in the bar that night. And one of them, very loudly, because they don't seem to be able to judge the sound in a small part of the bar, goes, excuse me, sir. And my dad and Paddy and his group all turned to look at this tall, broad American with fantastic teeth. And he goes, I believe, sir, that I bought the skull of St. Patrick off you 2 years ago. And there was like a hush. And all of the others were, oh my God. And without even blinking, this man, Paddy, doesn't bat an eyelid, just goes, well, no, yeah, well, that was the skull of St. Patrick as a young fellow. This is the skull of St. Patrick after becoming Bishop of the whole of Ireland.
Brilliant story. Sinead O'Brien, everyone. And St. Patrick as a young guy and as a bishop. Woo! Do you have any reflections on this?
This kind of roguery reminds me of my dad. So my dad had a picture of my mom inside that shirt pocket, and whenever he'd be pulled over for speeding, he would say, oh, I'm sorry, officer, now, but I'm after getting engaged to this beautiful woman, and my mother is dying at home in bed. She's close to death, and I want her to know that I'm getting married before she crosses over to God to get out of a speeding ticket.
Exactly.
He used it 7 or 8 times.
God gets you out of anything.
Yeah, God gets you out. God gets you out. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Thank you for closing the night with the story. We're almost running out of time. Do we have any closing comments before we go to our last song and we say goodnight to the people?
We do have a few. So about the middle of Europe, it's everywhere. There are several middles of Europe.
I assumed, yeah, I thought so.
There's a monument somewhere in Poland, which was the first in 1775. It was claimed by someone, so that they got there first. Well done, Poland.
Yeah, they have a folder that says like here is the center of Europe.
There's a thing. But because Europe colonized the world,
Folger.
Say again?
What was the thing in your story? The little piece of
fogra.
Fogra. Yeah. Sorry. Thank you.
Because Europe colonized the world, where do you draw the borders of Europe? And do you the Netherlands has those islands in the Caribbean?
Right.
So do you draw a line from there and then when does Russia stop being Europe? You know, so where is the middle really, right?
Let's pick one touchy subject per episode. We cannot do God and colonizers at the same maybe. I'm sorry. Let's save it for.
But didn't they colonize in the name of Jesus?
Oh yeah, right.
Who loves
it
you?
Goes hand in hand, yeah.
Who loves
it
you?
Goes hand in hand.
Who loves you unless you're gay? But closing comments. Sorry, so Sinead, that was a great story. Thanks very much. A lot of people are saying the stories have been great tonight, and they've complimented each and every individual storyteller. We don't actually have time to go through all of them, but
we do have time for a round of applause for all the storytellers who joined us tonight. Thank you so much for bringing your stories. Thank you so much for sharing them with us.
And we have had a pouring out of gratitude for the good quality of sound. The live streaming went very well. Great tech team, well done.
Great. Another round of applause for the amazing tech team that has been busting their asses off for the past month. Yeah, we know we were very, very discouraged last month because we did this episode on the theme of technophilia.
Yeah.
And then, technologically was the worst episode we had because there was no sound. The image was it was cutting off all the time.
God struck us down.
And then when we talk about him, it's like, oh yeah, sure, have all the good sound and all the... Yeah, no problem. What? Problem? Live streaming? No, go for it.
Yes.
Nice one.
Hashtag
And
blessed.
that's about the miracle moment, right? So we were asking everyone about miracle moments. Nobody has a miracle moment. There's an Irish woman who went off over to Japan, and she was hanging outside a monastery, and she was so devout and so religious and praying so much. This monastery had never allowed a woman to join, and they changed all of the rules to let her in. They're like, "Grand, you're so pious. You can be the first female Buddhist monk in this temple." She achieved in 27 years what takes other monks 80 years, right? Like, and she was writing letters home about her enlightenment. And then she was getting a bus. She was flying to Ireland via Thailand, and in Thailand she went on a bus tour, and the bus crashed, and she died. She never made it home. So her family printed her letters, and they called this book Letters from Enlightenment, right? And back in the monastery, they built a statue to her, and she's been anointed as a saint, right? In the meantime, her sister is a singer in Dublin, and someone was saying to her, like, "Did you ever think maybe you go over to Japan and try your career there?" And she's like, "It's kind of hard to make it in Japan when your sister is a saint over there already."
Right? Yeah.
So she's staying in Dublin.
Or
She's staying
free
in
publicity. Who knows? She might want to check it out. Any closing comments from our audience?
Lots of claps.
Lots of claps.
Lots of claps.
Well, thank
God
you,
be with you.
Thank you very much for the claps, and thank you for the love, and thank you for staying with us until this time. Any last words from our dear storytellers? What did you make of this night? What did you, any stronger connection to the divine after all these stories? Do you feel more? How do you feel, Sobhi? Do you go back to Sobhism after this episode?
No, I quit.
You quit all of them.
Well, you have heard from the story like how hard it is to be a prophet. So
Yes. Indeed.
don't go too back.
But then, if people would like to hear more about Sobhism, is there a way to they can contact you and you can tell them all about it. Yeah.
I left. So maybe find one of the
one of the followers. There's still followers of that religion.
Well, there were 5.
Imagine if it becomes like huge, like in 50 years from now. You have like no idea that Sobhism just took off and became a thing. Yeah.
Yeah, it could happen sometimes. Some founders do that.
Sinead, any closing comments from you? Would you like to share something with us before we heat it up?
I'm just very happy to be in the room. I really enjoyed it.
Where is the middle of Europe?
Oh, where's the? Oh no, I'm going to get into trouble. I shouldn't comment on that.
Do you say Brussels?
Brussels.
Well, thank you all very, very much for being here. Let's close the night with a song, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's go for it. We're gonna end with a cover of a song. We started with a cover, and we're gonna end with a cover. This is a cover of a very fitting song by Rosetta Thorpe, if I'm not mistaken. It's an original gospel. And the title is there are strange things happening every day. And indeed, there are very strange things happening every day. Especially on Sundays. Many, many strange things happening. People get eaten and spat out by whales. People get their first period on Christian camp. And they discover that they're not gems, but whems. People go through all religions to discover that actually they found a connection to their own selves. People bring us crazy stories because many, many strange things are happening in Ireland every day. Thank you for sharing your strange things that happen to you. Thank you for staying with us for this past hour and a half. Hope you enjoyed your stories. Hope we kept you warm and cozy. Join us next month. We're going to have an episode on the theme of shameless sex. That's next month's episode on the last Sunday of the month. Thanks to the tellers. Thanks to the musicians. Thanks to the lovely crew and their hard work. Thank you for staying with us. Enjoy this last song and see you all next month.
Oh, we heard church people say they are in the holy way. Strange things happening every day. Oh, the last man judgment day. Take him all away. Strange things are happening every day.
You hear that? Every day. Every day.
Every day.
Every day.
There are strange things happening every day. Every day. Every day.
Every day.
There are strange things happening every day. If you want a view to climb, you must learn to quit your line. Strange things happening every day. If you heal right through the lines, you must learn to quit your lines. Oh, strange things happening every day.
Every day. Every day.
are strange things happening every day.
You heard the guy. Say it.
Yeah. Strange.
Every day.
Oh, every day.
Every day.
There are strange things happening every day. Take it away. Every day, there are strange things happening every day.
One more time, one more time.
Every day,
every day, every day, come on.
every day, there are strange